very low amounts,
Right.
in very small amounts. They do occur in our waterways. But the truth is that so does mercury, so does arsenic, so a lot of other very toxic products that we shouldn't be swallowing. They do occur. And one of the points that I want to make clear is that if fluoride compounds were essential to life and essential to dental health, then wouldn't they be in mother's milk to some degree? Because that's the time when a baby's teeth, especially the adult teeth, are forming. Then that's supposedly the time that the enamel's going to need to take up the fluoride ions,
So
supposedly.
you think nature would have
put it in there. And the fact is that even in fluoridated areas, mother's breast milk actually filters out fluoride down to 0.004 parts per million.
Well, that's got to
and
be
we're talking
way,
about adding 1 part per million to the water. That's 250 times the dose that a baby's meant to get. And so if you're making up a formula and you're using tap water for a young baby, then you're basically overdosing it on fluoride ions by 250 times what nature intended.
I can tell you what, it's a very uncomfortable image. A parent, a mother or a father, mixing up a formula using water from the tap. If
exactly.
what you're saying is correct, it's a very uncomfortable image.
Well, the ADA themselves and the AMA have actually come out and put it in writing and stated that infants up to the age of 6 months should not have their formula, the bottled formulas, be made with fluoridated water.
Actually, the American Dental Association came out with that. The Australian Dental Association kind of backpedaled.
Let's get down to business here. Tell us some of the health problems that you both think are associated with fluoride in our water.
For a start, we're talking about problems like, well, actually, if you're consuming fluoride and you've got healthy kidneys, you excrete 50% of it. You can get rid of 50% of it. The rest you store in your bones, mainly in your bones, and in the pineal gland, which is a fairly important endocrine organ in the body and controls hormone levels and things like that. If your kidneys aren't working properly, you're not going to get rid of even 50% of it. So people with kidney disease really need to be aware that their health could be made worse by consuming fluoridated water. There are diabetics who drink a lot more water than the rest of us, so they're going to get a higher dose. Just because they're putting 1 part per million in the water, that doesn't actually control the dose that individuals get.
No, we control the dose.
We control the dose. And so what kind of doctor would prescribe for a person they haven't met? They don't know their age, they don't know their sex, they don't know their health issues, they don't know how much of the product they're going to actually consume. That's against all medical ethics.
Were you mentioning things like osteoporosis as well?
Yeah, because there's in India and in China, where there's some unnaturally high levels of fluoride in the water, these people are really suffering from crippling osteoarthritis and osteoporosis, and they're desperate to get that fluoride out of their water supply. They're just looking at us and going, what? You're putting it in? We're trying to get it out. So a lot of studies have come from those areas that show how excess fluoride can really be harmful. But the symptoms of skeletal fluorosis, which is, the kind of the brother to dental fluorosis, are the same as for arthritis and osteoporosis. So bone pain and aching and generally weakness of the bones. If you look at an x-ray of somebody with skeletal fluorosis, the bone will look denser, but it will be more brittle. So there's definitely evidence of increase in bone fractures in fluoridated communities.
Well, look,
there's a lot there.
A lot of people would say, this is one that I've heard from a lot of people over the past week, they say Sydney's had fluoride in their water for decades, and I think from what I read today it was 68 or somewhere like that.
They still get tooth decay, don't they?
Well, they still get tooth decay, but some people say it doesn't seem to have caused them any health problems down there. So how do you counter that sort of belief?
Because these are the diseases that are on the increase. Diabetes, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis. I just read in the paper the other day that iodine levels are very low, especially in expectant mothers, which is lowering babies' IQ. Now, fluoride was used back in the 20s or 30s to treat hyperthyroidism, overactive thyroids, because they know that it slows thyroid function down. There's plenty of studies on that as well. So now we've got this epidemic of people with hypothyroidism, with goiters, with underactive thyroids and low iodine, and we're trying to solve it by iodizing table salt. How about just, don't put any more chemicals in the water? That'd be a smarter move, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the salt one, because another argument that I heard this week was, we add things to everything, to bread, to milk, to salt.
But you have a choice whether you consume those.
That's true.
When you put it in the water, you take away a person's right to choose.
But you also get to walk the shopping aisle and you get to read the ingredients.
Yeah.
You get to you actually make yourself more informed by reading what's on the pack. In this case, the issue is the consumers out there, the people who drink the water, aren't informed. Now, the other side of this argument also is the financial aspect. You're looking at, on council record, they're stating that it's going to cost them a minimum of $200,000 per year to keep the chemicals up and the maintenance up to run this plant.
That's with state government throwing in an extra $30,000 a year.
On top. The plant itself cost $2 million to put in place, which was given by the state government.
Supposedly supplied by state government.
Now, the issue here is, for that amount of expenditure, the reality of the amount of water that any consumer would actually drink or cook with is about 0.5%. So the question's got to be asked, that other 99.5%, where is that water going that has got this fluoride product in it? It goes into agriculture, it goes into the backyard, it goes into your pets, it goes into washing the car, it goes down the drain. We're talking about 0.5% on average is actually consumed. Now, when you look at that level and the amount of money that it costs, wouldn't they have been better off spending their hard-earned dollars through our taxes back and putting better dental programs into place, better nutrition programs into place, and putting more dentists out in the field? The issue, and it always will be the case, when even under the ADA's, the Australian Dental Association's own latest report, comes out and states that even though Tasmania, who has had fluoride for the longest of any state in Australia, has the worst teeth in the country. Now, you don't have to be Einstein. You don't have to, sit down and add up any numbers. The facts are the facts. Even under their own records.
Government records.
The government records. The bottom line here is they produce a byproduct. They have nowhere to put it. Some bright spark came up with an idea that we would put it in the water to hide it at very, very low parts per million, and then no one will be the wiser. And how about we call it something like fluoride? Let's do the marketing, let's promote it, let's push it out in the marketplace, and let's make it tangible for everybody. When it becomes such a well-known name, and such a well-used name,
that the ADA, yes,
people, at the end of the day, take it for granted. They just assume that it's there and it's always going to be there. Now, there's a lot of protectionism going on here. The reality still is and will be that if you're not informed, you don't make informed choices, and that is what this is all about. We're about to embark on this program to tell everybody what it is. We are doing a lot of community announcement and meetings. We have a DVD that's been put together by professionals all over the world. We're talking about Nobel Peace Prize scientists, we're talking about dentists, we're talking about medical professionals, chemists, all sorts of walks of life. And in this DVD, it actually has these people stating the facts and the reality of what this product is, where it comes from, what it does, and the fact that it actually is proven that it has no result in regarding to preventing tooth decay.
It's a hell of a conspiracy you're describing there, because essentially you're saying that they've got an oversupply of this waste product, and because they've got nowhere else to put it, they're selling it as a health benefit for our water supply.
It's not a conspiracy. There's two issues. One is they either know exactly what it is or they lie. Mm-hmm. There are no other issues.
If what you're saying is correct, and all the toxic effects of fluoride are there, how do you explain that health organisations all around the world, including the North Coast Area Health, they continue not only to promote it, which you've answered in part there, but they're also applauding it as one of the greatest public health achievements of the century.
It makes it look like they're achieving something, doesn't it? When really, in reality, our health systems are going backwards. You know, we've been compared to third world countries with regard to our hospital systems. I guess it sounds like a quick fix solution to a politician. Oh yeah, you know, just put this in the